places really cannot say good things to power.
Okay.
But I think it's better that we have a situation where we can say good things to power.
If we're talking about the media, let's talk about verification labels. You obviously want to create another revenue stream that's subscription-based. Is verification the way to do that? Because if we have a kind of a situation at the moment where the New York Times doesn't have a verified badge, whereas anyone else who can pay whatever few bucks a month can. Can that be right? Is that what you envisaged when you bought Twitter?
I must confess, it's not relying on a verified badge. That was great. Anyway, they're still alive and well, so they're doing fine.
But on a serious note, it could flame disinformation again if you have verified accounts that are from anyone who can pay money. They go up to potentially the top of feeds. They get more action on Twitter, and traditional media that may not pay for verification doesn't. Do you see how that could potentially be a driver of disinformation?
Well, I mean, I think the media is a driver of misinformation much more than the media would like to admit that they are.
I mean, that's a different question.
Yeah, but you are sort of saying like who knows best, the average citizen or someone who is journalist. And I think in a lot of cases is the average citizen that knows more than the journalist. In fact, I mean, very often when I see an article about something that I know a lot about, and I read the article, it's like they get a lot wrong. So the best interpretation is someone who doesn't really understand what's going on in the industry, has only a few facts to play with, has to come up with an article. That it's going to be, it's not going to bullseye. So then, like, generally, this is how it makes stuff. Like, if you read an article about something you know about, how much of that, how accurate is that article? Now, imagine that is how essentially all articles are. They're an approximation of what's going on, but not an exact situation. So if somebody is actually, let's say, in the fray, or like an expert in the field, and was actually there, and writes about their experience of being actually there, I think that's in a lot of cases going to be better than the journalist, because the journalist was there.
I think you said the legacy verified blue ticks are going to go next week. There have been a few deadlines on
420.
Yeah, that's a joke. Is it definitely going to happen?
That number will never leave me.
I clearly. It cost you a lot of money.
Well, fortunately, it didn't in the trial.
Well, yeah, right, but the SEC, right?
Yes, we're going to ask for a refund.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good luck. Let's move on from that. But blue ticks, in theory, all legacy blue ticks gone next week, and at that point you'll kind of work out whether this is going to sink or swim.
Yes.
What's your hunch? I mean, you've obviously.
I think it's going to swim.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll swim just fine.
Okay. What are you looking for in terms of revenue stream? What are your goals?
Well, I think it's like necessarily a giant revenue stream. Even if you have sort of 1 million people that are subscribed for less than $100 a year ish, that's $100 million. And that's a fairly small revenue stream relative to advertising. What we're really trying to do here with verification is to massively raise the cost of disinformation and bots in general. So my prediction is that any social media company that does not insist on paid verification will simply be overwhelmed by advanced AI bots. I mean, ChatGPT is essentially a zillion instances of ChatGPT. How do you even know? Is that really
what you want on the platform? Do you want big news organizations being overwhelmed by bots so that they have to pay?
No, the point is that you won't be.
If you pay. But a lot of organizations have already said they're not going to pay, like the New York Times.
Well, then, that's up to them. They, can't make them pay. It's a small amount of money, so I don't know what their problem is. But we're going to treat everyone equally. So what we're not going to do is say that there's some anointed class journalists who are the special ones who get to tell everyone what they should think. That it should be up to the people what they think. And even if an article is completely accurate and comprehensive and everything, they're still in writing that article, media is choosing the narrative. They're deciding what to write an article about. So I'm hopeful that this can be more a case of the public choosing the narrative as opposed to the media choosing the narrative. But the media can choose the narrative, at least a combination of the media and the public choosing the narrative. And the public getting to weigh in on stories if they think that they should add something to it or get something wrong. And over time, I think if Twitter is the best source of truth, we'll succeed. And if we are not the best source of truth, we will fail.
Someone comes in and offers you $44 billion for Twitter right now. Would you take it?
No.
Would you consider it? Why?
Well, I think back. It depends on who. I suppose if I was confident that they would pursue, they would rigorously pursue the truth, then I guess I would be glad to hand it over to someone else. I don't care about the money really, but I do want to have some source of truth that I can count on, and I hope that's our aspiration, is to have a source of truth that you can count on. That's it's also real time. It's an immediate source of truth that you can count on, and that gets more accurate with time as people comment on particular things.
If you don't care about the money, you could just give it to someone that you think is a good person to run Twitter.
Who do you think that might be?
I'm not the boss of Twitter.
No one to choose. Well, you might as well have an idea.
Who could run Twitter?
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea who could run Twitter.
Yeah, it's a hard job.
Okay, let's move on to. You said that you were going to stand down as chief executive, right? Okay.
I can tell you, I'm not the CEO of Twitter. My dog is the CEO of Twitter.
Okay. Have you got any?
It's a great dog.
Other than the dog.
Very alert, and it's hard to get anything by him.
Okay, that's good to know. Other than the dog, have you got any successes in mind?
You've got a black and tan turtleneck. What would you need?
Okay. All right. Going down that route. Steve Jobs or Elizabeth Holmes? Are you making reference to?
I guess more Elizabeth Holmes.
Okay. I've forgotten the question now.
It's got a husky voice. Black turtleneck.
What were we talking about there? Who would you want? Have you got a successor in mind?
Not yet. Hopefully at some point.
Right. So, because you did say you were going to stand down.
I did stand down.
Okay. All right, let's move on from that then. All right. What about this office? I'm intrigued about this office. You said it was expensive.
I really do see it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, why can't we be in an office Nicholas Commune?
I think Jack Dorsey kind of recommended doing that and kind of ignored it.
Yeah, it was kind of that actually.
This office, are you thinking about moving out of San Francisco?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, I mean, this place is nice, and we I kind of like this office building actually.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not, because I know you've talked about there's been high levels of crime here. You actually said at one point
we should do something about the crime.
Right.
People are dying.
Right.
We should take action.
You've also talked about how potentially, I think you might have been joking, but you could turn this into a homeless shelter. So I guess the reason I'm asking is,
If we're trying to turn it into a homeless shelter, the building management group, the building owner rejected it.
You tried to.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us.
Which bits have you tried to turn into a homeless shelter?
We're only using one of the buildings, and so the other building can be a homeless shelter.
And you tried to.
Yeah, we would like to do it right now.
Really?
Yes.
And
you're
being stopped by who?
By the building owner.
They won't let you.
No. In fact, they wouldn't even let us take the W off the sign.
So how were you going to do that?
They're really quite.
What was your plan for the shelter?
I don't know. We could just let people stay there. It's nice.
Right. Okay. I didn't know that.
They can bring their stuff, bring their tent, whatever.
Right. And it's a roof over their heads.
Yeah. If the building owner lets us, we'll do it.
Yeah. So if the building owner lets you, you would happily do that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. There we go. What's the most difficult thing you've had to do? What's the hardest thing you've had to do?
In my whole life.
In the last 6 months. We're talking about the last 6 months as Twitter was. Twitter.
Well, shutting down one of our service centers was quite difficult. It turns out there were I thought the service centers were redundant, but there were in fact a lot of things that were hard coded to the one service center. And so we shut it down, and we actually it was quite catastrophic. We lost a lot of functionality, so we really rushed to put it back.
When was that?
I was around late December, early January.
So that was the biggest sort of I'm worried here.
Biggest crisis,
yeah. And what about hard in terms of emotional? I mean, how does letting go? What were the levels of staff, and what are they now?
We're around 1,500 people at this point, and there was I think 7,800.
What was it?
I think it was around just under 8,000. 8,000. 1,500 right now.
Okay. And has it been hard letting that many people go?
Yeah. Not fun at all. Painful.
I mean, I guess in what way do you feel like you need to speak to people when they leave?
It's not physically possible to speak to that many people.
Has that? I mean, you talked about that being the most technical bit. Has that been sort of the hardest thing emotionally, or is it?
It's one of the hardest things, certainly.
Yeah. Okay. The Nancy Pelosi tweet. We'll go right back to the start. But there have been, as an example of a few, there have been others. Do you feel like you're an impulsive person?
I mean, have I shot myself in the foot with tweets multiple times? Yes.
Do you feel like...
I need bulletproof shoes at this point.
I mean, you've definitely done that. The issue is that you're now a Twitter owner. Do you feel like you should look at your tweets more? You have a higher responsibility when you tweet something out for it to be accurate?
I think I should not tweet after 3 a.m.
That's the rule.
Yeah, well, maybe 2 a.m.
That's the new rule.
Yeah, like that.
Okay, so there's a blanket ban.
I shouldn't.
What are your Twitter rules? I mean, I've heard some people say never tweet when you've been drinking, or never tweet when angry. What are your Twitter rules?
Well, I think those are two good rules. Yeah, don't tweet if you're wasted, or really upset about something. Yeah, probably. I mean, a good friend of mine actually had a good suggestion, and it has helped, which is that if you're going to tweet something that maybe is controversial, save it as a draft and look at it the next day and see your story. And that has been a good rule.
Okay.
So I've got a bunch of things in my draft folder that I'm glad I didn't say.
I can't remember whether I've asked you this. This is my sort of wrapping up at this point. But yeah, do you have any regrets?
I mean, what was like hindsight's 2020, so a bunch of decisions that could have made me better for sure. But like I said, all's well that ends well. I think it's gone pretty well. So in the grand scheme of things,
Okay. I'm going to just check my list of things to make sure I've actually.
I mean, maybe this is something that people on the Twitter want to say. Ask, we can ask them.
That's on you.
Wow, there's 680,000 people listening.
There you go.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Let's see. How do we see? Okay. Let me see who. I'll just look at my tweet and see what people are saying or what questions they have. Do you like the BBC? Do you like BBC?
Okay, yeah, we're not going to.
I can't interview you. But if do you like BBC?
I know. I'm not going to respond to that. Okay. I think we can finish it there. If you want to continue, thank you very much.
Well, come on. Surely you like BBC. Come
I'm not engaging. All right. Elon, it honestly has been a pleasure.
Okay.
Talking to you.
Well, same.
Yeah. So if you want to carry on answering questions on this, then go for it. But I'm not going to.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to see if there's like any good. There's a lot of comments here.
I can imagine.
There's so many. Anyway, so it's nice to be interviewed by the BBC. I have a lot of respect for the British Broadcasting Corporation.
When did you say when the actual label's going to go public?
Oh, is it? Do we still say state media or whatever? Or it says government-funded media currently, as opposed to publicly funded media. Well, I guess probably we can make that change tomorrow if you'd like.
It's up to you. It's up to you. But we'll expect that tomorrow.
I mean, do you have any requests on a personal level, or you can't speak on a personal level?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think we've established that. Go on, what questions are people asking you? Go on.
I mean, there's like a lot of comments. Let's see. I was literally reading on looking at replies to the fact that I just the spaces.
Are there any good questions that I've missed out in the last 6 months? I'm sure there are many.
I mean, people generally seem to like this interview, as far as I can tell. Very few negative comments, so generally positive.
That's probably bad for me.
I'm scrolling as fast as I can to sort of see. I guess there's some complaints about Twitter Spaces needing some improvement. Let's fix Twitter Spaces is one of the comments. People like the fact that my dog Loki is the CEO, and I'm really just scrolling as fast as I can here.
I guess my reflection on this interview.
I'd just like to say I like BBC.
Okay. You obviously find that very funny.
I do find it funny.
I think, I mean, honestly, listening to the interview, the answer about misinformation and saying, oh, we don't police misinformation in the same way, but because we try and get bots, because we try and take down bots, we're effective at bots, there's actually less misinformation on the platform.
I think that's a big factor.
I'd like to ask you one more question on that, because it does. Sure. I mean, that is quite a lot of people. I think will be listening to this.
Sure.
Really, you're arguing you can police content moderation far less and end up with less misinformation. How
first of all, we do have content moderation. So it's not like we don't.
I've spoken to lots of people who've been fired. So lots of people have been let go.
The censorship bureau was let go. I don't think the sort of putting a thumb on the political scales in the far left has been let go, because that's not right. That's not what you want for a public square. You got to have equal treatment for people from across the political spectrum. So, some of them are going to be upset about that. But like I said, my experience is that there's less misinformation these days, not more, and that the community notes feature is extremely powerful for addressing so-called misinformation.
I mean, you've had community notes placed on your own tweets.
Yes.
One of them involving an alleged diamond mine.
Diamond mine?
A mine that.
What diamond mine?
A mine that your father part owned.
Yeah, my father never owned a so you're thinking of an emerald mine?
Emerald mine.
Yeah, I'd like to see a picture of this alleged emerald mine.
Because you've been community noted on that tweet.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, but he never owned a emerald mine. It's total bullshit.
Not even a 50% stake.
No.
Because in community notes.
But first of all, okay. Do you think something like an emerald mine would have like some sort of property register? There'd be like a picture of it. It's not like you can say, "Oh, that's my mine." These things are hotly debated. If you've got something valuable, you have to have some property record, like a house, but much more important than a house. And yet there is no property record whatsoever. There is no picture of this mine whatsoever. It doesn't exist. It's fake.
So it's a really good example then, because there is a community note on that tweet that says, you said this thing on the X day, blah, blah, blah. So in that instance, the community notes didn't work. So you're saying that that's a way of solving misinformation, but you're literally saying one of those community notes is wrong.
The community note may be referring to a thing where I went on a trip with my father to Zambia, but I never saw any mine or anything. So there's no mine.
I'm not right, but at this point I'm just saying the community note says it is. So you're saying it's this big great panacea, but yeah, it's literally on your own tweet. The community notes, according to you, are wrong.
If they're referencing an article, then the article may not be wrong, but they're still representing. Yeah, but community notes is not going to be perfect. But it's the batting average of community notes I found to be extremely high.
Right.
So
community notes plus getting rid of millions and millions of bots every day. I guess that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what you think is tackling misinformation over content moderation. I think that's the bit that a lot of people will go really.
Yes, really. But look, the acid test is people use the system and find it to be a good source of truth, or they don't. And no system is going to be perfect in its pursuit of the truth. But I think we can be the best, the least inaccurate. That's our goal. The least inaccurate. And I think we might be there already. If we're not there, we'll be there soon.
Do you have? I've spoken to people who think this. Do you have a kind of message for people who think that Twitter has been ruined?
Well, we have all-time high usage, so I don't think it has been.
Some people think it has been. I'll tell you that.
Yes, well, they're probably the same people who predicted that Twitter would cease to exist, and their predictions have turned out to be false.
I'm not going to ask you whether you think it's been ruined, because obviously you look.
No, I think it's great. Yes. That's way better. Better by a lot.
I'm done with this interview. It sounds like you don't want to take any questions from your legions of fans. So,
I mean, I was just looking for, questions. You got any questions? Okay. Okay, let's get the designer. Okay. So what I do? Tell me again. Yeah,
we're just getting some technical help for anyone who's listening.
Dutch designers. Okay, so should I? How do you unmute?
He just needs to.
Okay, Dutch designer. If you unmute, you can talk.
Hey, Lon, what's up?